Hey guys, this is What If Naruto Traveled Back in Time with Sasuke, part 1. This video is going to be a little more shorter than the usual, or than the normal videos, because this is the first part. I just want to test out to see if you guys like this, what if you guys do, make sure to like it and comment so I know you guys like it, and then I'll make more parts a lot more sooner. But just because I'm uploading these does not mean I'm going to be stopping the What If Naruto's OP and neglect the series. I will be uploading another part today. I'm pretty sure today, if I get to it. The beginning, I'm kind of not stealing, but like, yeah, basically kind of stealing or taking inspiration from a YouTuber called Dr. Kahu. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I butchered it a bit. It was called. I saw his What If, and it's What If Naruto travel to the past, and the beginning is kind of like how I'm gonna make it, but I'm just gonna change it up a bit. And yeah, so what else? Sorry if I sound a little bit weird. I have a really runny, stuffy nose. I don't know why. Corona something. So yeah. So it starts off in the Baruto, like in the future of Baruto, and it's called Naruto and Sasuke are both fighting, and then Momoshiki decides to seal not only Naruto but also decides to seal Sasuke because he views both of them as a threat enough at the point where he has to seal them away with a really powerful jutsu, and they eventually are sealed away, both of them together, and they're placed into this one kind of dimension where there's just a whole bunch of monsters everywhere, and the only people they have to talk to, or they can talk to really, or they can only talk to each other and Kurama. Nobody else there speaks their language, and they're basically monsters. And every single day, Sasuke and Naruto have been fighting and fighting, and also trying to find a way to get out of the dimension by making some sort of portal or travel jutsu that's strong enough to get them out of here. And in real life, it's been around 10 to 20 years, somewhere between. And at this point, Momotsutsuki is just doesn't think Naruto and Sasuke are gonna get out, so kind of stops paying attention to it. And he hasn't really attacked, so he's gotten a lot more weaker. Like, he hasn't trained, he hasn't done anything, he just kind of been sitting around. And yeah, and so eventually Naruto, Sasuke, and Kurama, all three of them just eventually get out. And to them, it's been around 100 years, but they haven't aged a bit. But it just felt like it's been 100 years, and they were scared what they were going to see on the other side, onto the other dimension. So they're kind of hesitant, but they've gotten a lot more stronger because they've had to survive, they've had to train, they've had to fight, they've had to live like for 100 years by fighting a whole bunch of dangerous monsters. And so this did buff them up a lot, mainly the chakra and all that. And as soon as they find a way to get out of the dimension, they decide that they're gonna go back. And as soon as they get back, they get contacted by the Sage of Six Paths because he wasn't able to contact them while they're in that little dimension. But as soon as they do, uh, they both get like sucked into wherever the Sage is. I think it's the Mindscape. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, and Naruto's pretty happy to see that the Sage is still there. Like, has enough chakra to contact them, and he's asked what's happened, how long has it been, and Sasuke and Naruto are both there, like they're together, not in separate ones, they're together, and they're both surprised to hear that's barely been around like 15 years, I'm gonna say, and he would ask the Sage if anybody's still alive, and the Sage would say, not that I know of. And this would make Naruto and Sasuke mad, because if nobody's alive, that means his son, his daughter, and his wife died, and Sasuke's, or Sakura, Sarada, they would have died too. And this makes both of them mad that their family died to some of the members of the Otsutsuki clan. And what's called Naruto and Sasuke would decide that they're a really big threat to not only them but any other planets or anywhere else, because now that they know there's other places, or there's more likely other places that the Otsutsuki can attack, they decide that they'd rather just take them out now than see the whole entire galaxy go up in flames or something. And So the sage would agree and would actually give them a buff, and the sage would basically seal himself and every single one of the tailed beasts, because all the tailed beasts at this point, they've like genuinely died and are with the sage now. And the sage would give them all orders, and what's called all the tailed beasts agree because they don't like the Otsutsuki clan at all, and would decide to join into Naruto. And Sasuke would also get a buff by actually the sage would give him his second Rinnegan, and this time I'm gonna say that the sage just like basically gives him all like that part of his chakra, so now he's allowed to deactivate and activate the Rinnegan whenever he wants, and so that way it doesn't like drain his chakra or anything of the sorts. And what else? Yeah, so Naruto gets sealed with the Sage of Six Path along with everyone else or all the other tailed beasts, because the Sage wants to make sure that they're both okay, because they are technically his sons in a way. They just want to make sure that they're safe. So they would start off by trying to kill all the like lower branch of the Otsutsuki clan and kind of the weaker ones, and make their way up, and they blow through all of them pretty easily, even killing Momosuke relatively easily. Or first, before they would kill him, he would hear that some members of his clans were being slaughtered and all over the place, and he would check the seal and realize that Naruto and Sasuke have already escaped long ago, or not long ago, but like a while ago. And but then wait, I forgot. Before they went through everywhere, like all around the Naruto world, looking for dead bodies or to see if there's anybody alive, and nobody was alive. And they found most people's dead bodies and would bury them and give them a proper grave and everything. And Naruto wouldn't be able to find Boruto's uh, body, but he would find the remains of Hinata and Himawari, which would make Naruto really like sad and mad. And usually he doesn't let his anger overwhelm him, but this was too much for him. He was able to control the nine tails, so the nine tails doesn't even try to overtake him anymore. But he is just purely mad, and so is Sasuke. They aren't mad at the point where they'll go crazy, but they're just like they just want to kill the Otsutsuki clan in general, because they've seen how much of a threat they are. And so, yeah. So eventually they'd make their way up, and this would take them a few weeks or I'm not actually sure how much people are in the Otsutsuki clan, but I'm gonna say like around a month just to get planet to planet. And the jutsu that they made can like also kind of time travel into different places at a time, and that's how they would be able to find all the Otsutsuki members, and eventually making it up to the king or the king of the Otsutsukis. And the king would ask, or would say, so you two are the people that are killing members of my clan. And what's called, they would kind of afterwards, after talking for a bit, like from far away, at first only Naruto would start fighting, and he would get mad at the king and just start fighting him. And at this point, they were like evenly tied. Naruto just a little bit stronger, but the king can hold up pretty well. But then Sasuke joins in, and it's basically over for the king after that. They can't. He can barely take both of them on. Cause again, Naruto and Sasuke both got a big buff, like a really big buff, and so them together would overwhelm the king by a lot. And at the end, the king would be barely alive. Naruto and Sasuke would be pretty exhausted, but still like be relatively fine. And afterwards, Naruto and Sasuke would just feel a really big guilt and say aloud, "I wish it didn't have to come to this. I wish we could have changed some things. I didn't want to kill them." And Sasuke agreed and said it reminds you of the Uchiha massacre. Some of the Uchiha wanted to revolt, so all the Uchiha had to pay. And they both agree on this, and overall kind of like feel bad for those Otsutsuki members, and are still pretty angry though. But they're they're relatively forgiving back to their natural way. And the king hears this and just kind of laughs at this and go, so even after all this, you still feel pity, you still feel bad, you still feel guilt, huh? And what's called, the king would say, let me just give you a little surprise real quick, and would get his hand, and Naruto and Sasuke would get up on onto defense, but then he would grab his hand and I'd go right into his chest with it. Like he would get. I'm pretty sure you guys seen how the Naruto somebody were to rip up a heart or something. He'd do that, but then. Okay, just imagine Rin and Kakashi. Okay, imagine how his hand went through, but no Chidori this time. He just full on went through. It looked like he grabbed something, pulled out, and said, "Here, take this. It'll open a vault." And it was a little key. Naruto and Sasuke said, "What is this for?" And the king would say, "It's something to help your guys' wish come true." And would say, "Because your wish is a little bit of my wish currently." And after he said that, he would die. He would just all of a sudden stop breathing and just basically die. And Naruto and Sasuke would trust the king because the king technically never did. They did that all that out of anger because of some of the Otsutsuki members killed, And then Naruto would what's it called? They would go into the vault and open it, and inside there would be a little. It's kind of like that one turtle from Boruto where they were able to travel back in time, but this one had instructions, and it would say how once you go back in time, there's no returning back to your normal time. Your what's it called? Your current time and timeline will be completely erased and destroyed. There's no coming back. So yeah, it would say this, have warnings, and tell them how to perform it. And Sasuke and Naruto would agree that it'd be better if they can go back and change the Otsutsuki's way and all that. And so right as they do this, I was saying they just feel everything in the world, like in the galaxy, everything just feel like it's shaking. And they would all look around and realize that it feels like everything's closing in on them. And as soon as it gets to them, they kind of poof away, and kind of in a movie scene, when it's like a vortex and they kind of start going through. And also in Naruto and Sasuke, they're falling to the ground, or they're falling from the sky, kind of like that one Naruto opening and or ending. I forgot which one it was. And they're falling, and in a blink of an eye, Naruto sees his house and goes, "Wait a minute," and then he goes right through his own house and sees his kid self, and his kid self even sees Naruto, but then all of a sudden they collide, and adult Naruto chakra and everything goes into kid Naruto, and the same thing happens to Sasuke, and Sasuke is currently at home, and so is Naruto. And Naruto, all of a sudden he falls over, and there's some Anbu outside just looking at this huh? And he gets back up, and then Naruto gets back up, realizing that he's in his kid body, starts walking around, and all of a sudden just goes, "Wait, yeah," and just feels all dizzy, and then boom, he just falls to the ground. And the same thing kind of happens to Sasuke, and goes, Naruto, and then falls, and he's in his house. I'm not actually sure where he lives. Does he still live in the Uchiha compound, or does he live somewhere else? I actually don't know that. I don't think I've ever really seen that. Alright. But either way, yeah. So, Naruto, or the Anbu, would realize that Naruto passed out, and would realize, because right now they're around 5 years old. They're pretty little, and so Naruto has to still be watched over by some Anbu. And the Anbu member goes in, picks up Naruto, and brings him to the hospital, and calls for somebody to go get the Hokage. And yeah, so while the Hokage is coming, I'm gonna say that they're getting ready for school. Or actually, no, they're around 7. They're 7, and because Naruto joined the academy at 7, and I think Sasuke joined at 6, so they're around that age. And I'm gonna say that Sakura already has a crush uh on Sasuke, and realizes that Sasuke didn't come to school or didn't come to the academy, and want to go visit him to see if he's sick to go take care of him. And she would go up to his house and look through the window, or knock on his door first, and look through the window and see a passed out Sasuke just lying on the ground. And Sakura screams and calls for like a ninja, like one of the guards or a jonin or something, some ninja, to come get Sasuke that he's lying down on the ground not moving, and they would rush over, and they would also take him to the hospital. And by the time that they take Sasuke to the hospital, Naruto's already sitting there, or is already on the bed, and then the Hokage arrives and asks what's going on with these two, and they would say that some sort of foreign chakra has entered both of them at the exact same time, or near the exact same time. But it's weird because that chakra that entered is an exact copy of their own, just a lot more greater. And the Hokage would say, "What do you mean, a lot more greater?" And the doctor would say, "Well, it could be the Nine Tails for Naruto, but that still wouldn't explain why Sasuke has the same exact thing. Because with Naruto, the Nine Tails might be trying to take over, but with Sasuke, what could it be?" And the Hokage and the doctors are pretty stumped, but the Hokage says, "Nevertheless, you're doing the best medicine, or else you're fired, and I'm having your heads on my wall." And I know that's a little like tough for the Hokage, but he just wants to make sure that they get the absolutely best. Because for Naruto, he's the Nine Tails. On top of that, he made a promise to Kuchina and Minato they would take care of him. And Sasuke, Hiruzen made a promise to Itachi to make sure his brother's safe and basically kind of take care of him. Not like take care of him, but like just make sure he's safe. And yeah, so eventually after a week or two, they would both wake up relatively at the same time. They would like jolt up and go as if like they barely came out of the water or came out of some sort of water. And this whole entire time they were in their mindscape, and they were able to talk to each other through their mindscape that are like somewhat linked. And yeah, so they wake up, look at each other, and go, "Naruto," and then they look around and realize they're back. They're back at the hospital, and doctors would rush in and go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Sit back down, both of you," and would look at Naruto and kind of be glad that, because one of the things that could have happened to Naruto is he could have gone on a rampage due to the Nine Tails, and the Nine Tails, he has complete control already, and it was called throughout this time, all like their power has gone to them, and what's it called, and they've grown taller. They're not like Shippuden tall, but I'm gonna say they're around kid to halfway to Shippuden tall. Like, actually no, because they're like barely 7 right now. So never mind. They're already around like kid Naruto tall, a little bit shorter or somewhat around that area. All you need to know is they're a lot taller than most of the other kids right now. They're not like freakilish taller, but they're just taller. And yeah, and the doctor would be amazed that nothing happened to Naruto and nothing happened to Sasuke, that they're both fine, and would do a few checkups on them, make sure that they're both feeling okay, that they don't feel weird at all. And as soon as Naruto and Sasuke try to walk, they like completely flop over, and the doctor would like look at this and go, "Wait, what? Did they just pass out again?" And they'll say, or he would ask that, and both of them would go, "No, we're okay. You can't really walk right now." And the doctor would say, "You're probably getting used to your new taller body, because compared to kid like." Yeah, Cardi said he got taller, and it was called. They must think that uh he's probably having a hard time walking, mainly because he got a lot taller, but in reality it's because he's a lot shorter than they're used to, and they're trying to get used to the legs and the way that they have to walk. Because it was all of a sudden they're used to being like pretty tall, now they're really short. So yeah, and the Hokage would come in and ask what happened, and both of them would try to play it off. and say that we don't know, we just passed out, and they'd realize that they don't want to act too suspicious, that they rather play it off like their normal selves. And yeah, so after like a few more days, they get released from the hospital and they're fine, and they're still walking pretty weird, but for the most part they look pretty normal. And they'd walk in, and Naruto, like right away, he'd go, "Whoa, my long hair," and would kind of want a haircut to get rid of it. But Sasuke would go, "I know my hair's pretty weird right now too, but let's try to act normal and keep our hair cut the normal way until we're older. How about that?" And Naruto would agree. But Naruto would change his clothes a bit. It's still mainly orange, but he would add a bit more black, like kind of during the at the end of Naruto. Not Boruto, not that clothing, but like where it's kind of black. But he's gonna add some orange onto it too. And yeah, if it's not that, then it's gonna be like what he wears as the Hokage, where it's just like a sweater and then black pants, something along those lines. And Naruto and Sasuke and Sasuke would just start wearing a lot more black, because in Naruto he wears a lot more black than he does blue, and he wouldn't get rid of the Uchiha sweater, but he would just like wear a bit more black and wear different sweaters and stuff. And so yeah, Naruto and Sasuke would walk into class, and all the girls would automatically go, "Sasuke, are you okay?" And they wouldn't pay attention to Naruto because all of them already decided that they don't like Naruto, except for Hinata, because the thing. I'm gonna say that the thing where Naruto and Sasuke, not Naruto and Sasuke, sorry, where Naruto saved Hinata from the bully still happened. So Hinata still really likes Naruto a lot, and this time Naruto really likes and really. So, oh my god, I almost just said something really horrendous. It's called Naruto really likes Hinata, and yeah, so Naruto will try to talk to her a little bit more. Of course, every single time he does, Hinata like almost passes out from embarrassment. Her face would turn red and just smoke would come out, and yeah, all the typical stuff. And then what would also happen is it's called Sasuke would start paying more attention to Sakura. It feels weird because they still feel like a grown up. It feels weird that they're talking to kid, but then they realize that they're a kid, and it's basically just the same thing. And so yeah, but they still talk to them a lot more, and then they notice something. Shikamaru automatically notices something weird about Naruto and about Sasuke. Sasuke is like a lot more nicer to people now. He talks a lot more than compared to how he used to before he fell over, because I'm saying the Uchiha massacre already happened, and so Sasuke is kind of like, or was already starting to be kind of emo. I actually don't know how old Sasuke was, but yeah, I just gonna say it's around, either happened earlier or it just already happened. And yeah, Shikamaru realizes this and looks at Naruto and realizes that he's still the same goofball and acts the same, but when the teacher's talking or teaching, he pays attention and he's actually able to do a lot more of the jutsus. And so yeah, and Naruto would try not to act suspicious by kind of failing some of the jutsus, but there's times where like he doesn't notice and he'll do them like first try, even though it takes everybody else like a long time. And Iruka would notice this and go, and we'd actually be really happy that Naruto's like what was called paying attention. And yeah, and also all of them, like they would recognize both of them, but like be really shocked that they're taller, because last time they saw them, which was only like 2 weeks ago, they were like around their height, and now they're like they have to like kind of look up a bit more. And yeah, so after school, Naruto and Sasuke would be talking a lot more and discussing a plan on what they're going to do, or if they should start it now, who they should tell, when should they tell them, and they decided that they want to test out what kind of jutsus they still have, how much chakra they have, what they can do, and afterwards they decide that they want to have Hiruzen, aka Lord Third. And yeah, so when Sasuke tries activating his Rinnegan, he can do it, but his body still isn't used to all the power, so it kind of strains him a bit. But for the most part, he can use it pretty well. And then Naruto can activate KCM 1, but can't activate KCM 2 just yet. He's having a bit of trouble because, again, their body isn't fully used to it just yet. As they grow up a little bit more, they're going to be able to use a lot more. By the time they're in, like, Shippuden, they're going to be able to use every single one of their jutsus that they had in Boruto, and they have to be developed. But for the most part, they can still use most of them. But just not full strength. But it's still, like, their jutsu are still really powerful even when they're not full strength at this point. And it's enough to take out a lot of people. And a lot of strong people. And their speed has increased. It's still relatively the same, just a little bit slower because of the legs. And yeah. And so then the next day they go back to the academy, and they decide that they're gonna tell Hiruzen that day. And what's got everybody realizes that Sasuke is a really talkative Naruto, and actually they seem like really good friends. And the girls would say, "Why do you want to be friends with someone like that?" Because it was kind of the start of the academy. They're already able to tell that Naruto was really bad and paying attention to jutsus, and while Sasuke would always pay attention, be really good, and be a prodigy already. And I said this, and what if Naruto was OP and neglected? But Naruto would have been a prodigy if he actually had the right material and had the right person to, like, not even teach him, just if he had the materials and, like, some way to train, then he would be really, really good. Because, like, have you seen how, like, strong he's gotten so fast? Once he kind of got Jiraiya, or once he met Jiraiya, sorry. And yeah, then yeah, I'm just say that they went over pretty quickly, and they would go to Hiruzen or go to the Hokage, and Naruto would kind of like forget and go, "Hey, Hiruzen," and the third Hokage would kind of like raise an eyebrow to this and go, "What do you mean, Hiruzen? Call me Lord Third, Naruto." And Naruto didn't really call him Lord Third. He kind of called him Gramps. I'm pretty sure, like Gramps Third, or yeah. So he says, "Oh, yeah, sorry, Lord Third," and Hiruzen wouldn't pay much attention to this, just kind of play it off as Naruto being forgetful or kind of rude. And yeah, so Naruto says, "There's something I need to tell you. Something really important that we can't have anybody see at all. Or hear or see." And the third Hokage would go, "Okay," and dismiss anybody that was in the room or any Anbu that are around the area. And then the third Hokage would say, "Okay, that's all of them." And Naruto says, "You missed two." And the third Hokage would say, or would like think, "How does he know? I don't sense anything." And Naruto would body flicker outside, beat them up, and like body flicker back inside, and hold two Anbu or root members up to Hiruzen's face and say, "These two, they're outside on that tree." And Hiruzen would go, "Amazing that Naruto was able to sense them when I wasn't, and on top of that, he was able to beat both of them up in a matter of seconds." And then Naruto would go, "Let me go dispose of these two," and then would run outside, throw them really far, and run back inside, and would go, "Is that all of them?" And Naruto would sense once again and go, "Yeah, that should be all of them." And Naruto then dang it, I forgot what it's called. But then tell the third Hokage, "Okay, I know this may sound kind of weird, but me and Sasuke, are from the future. We're in our kid bodies right now. And then at first the third Hokage is kind of like, well, suspicious of him as he should be, and go, okay, how should I know to believe you? And Naruto will look at him with a really big grin and go, whoa, how does the seventh Hokage sound to you? And would point at himself. And Hiruzen would kind of laugh at this, but like be, it's the seventh, huh? And go, so if you really are the Hokage from the future, do you know about the secret that I passed down to Hokage about what happened to the Uchiha? And Naruto would go, or what happened to the, and Naruto would come off and say, it's about what he taught you, right? The Uchiha massacre, how he did that to save the leaf. And Hiruzen go, he does know this. And Hiruzen says, well, I may need a little bit more proof. And Sasuke and Naruto would both go, we can show you some of our jutsus if you want. And Hiruzen would agree. They would walk outside and Sasuke would activate his Rinnegan and Hiruzen go, a Rinnegan? Both? How? Because I would say that he already knew about the Rinnegan along with a lot of, mainly the Hokages, Jiraiya. But, yeah. Hiruzen would see this and go, okay. And Naruto would activate KCM1 and show how he has controlled the Nine Tails. And Hiruzen would go, you guys are. And Naruto would say, well, that's not it. I don't only have the Nine Tails sealed in me right now. I have every single one of the tailed beasts, full power, sealed inside me, along with the Sage of Six Paths. And Naruto feels like he can trust Hiruzen really well. And Hiruzen would be shocked to hear that the Sage of Six Paths himself, what he thought was only a rumor at one point, or like a hoax, kind of, a fairy tale in a way, was inside Naruto. And was because that Sasuke has the Rinnegan, and he can tell that they're pretty powerful. Like, they haven't shown him all the jutsu, but just from those alone, Hiruzen decides to believe them. And Hiruzen, they would walk back, and Naruto would sense for ninjas again, and there'd be no one at all. And his sensory ninjutsus are really good, so he'd be able to tell no matter what. And Naruto or Hiruzen would go, but why are you here? Being here, doesn't it disrupt the time and disrupt the universe, or could disrupt the universe or time itself? And Naruto and Sasuke both says, no, that's alright. Our time, it has already been destroyed. And then Hiruzen says, what do you mean by this? And Naruto would say, well, we had to. What's called, me and Sasuke are the last two people alive in our timeline. Everybody else has already been murdered long ago. And Hiruzen's hearing this like, wow. And would say, I'm sorry for all the things you guys, or for all the things you two must have seen and experienced. And Naruto says, yeah, but we're back now, and we're here to make sure none of that happens again. And what's called, and Naruto say, and a few things I have to warn you about. Don't trust the sand ninjas, Kage or Kazekage. It's gonna be a fake during the tuning exams. In the tuning exams that I will participate, that's the person who will kill you. And do not trust Danzo whatsoever. And was called, they thought Hokage would ask, is Danzo the one who did all of that? And was called, Sasuke would butt in and say, no, I killed him a little bit before the 4th Great Ninja War. And the third Hokage would say, there's a 4th? And Sasuke would say, yes, it was the whole entire leaf, and the whole entire, every single village and ninja versus Madara Uchiha and Obito Uchiha. And also, on top of all that, the Ten Tails. And what's called, Hiruzen would be amazed and ask, is that what caused the end of the world? And what's called, Sasuke and Naruto would both say, no, we end up we ended up winning in the end. And Naruto says, I'm getting kind of tired of explaining. Why don't I just show you, Hiruzen? And Naruto would hold his hand up and show Hiruzen everything that he needs to know. Like everything about the Otsutsuki attacking, about the 4th grade ninja war, the tuning exams, Obito. He would show him like everything that he needs to and how the future looks like. And Hiruzen go, I see. Once again, I'm sorry for all you've had to go through, especially near the end of your timeline. And Naruto also showed him when they were fighting the Otsutsuki clan members. And yeah, Naruto and Hiruzen said we can't let anyone else know about this. There's only a few people that may be allowed to know, but for now, we must keep this a secret. And Naruto and Sasuke would agree, and Hiruzen said, do you guys still want to be in the academy? I know you guys don't have to be in. Naruto says, well, for the sake of our future wives, I think we should be in there. And Hiruzen goes, oh, I see. And would wish them good luck. And they would kind of laugh at this, and they would walk off. Hiruzen, hearing all this, would start having a little bit of a mini plan for some of the things to never happen that happened before, because Naruto and Sasuke want all the strong ninja they can have, like every single one of them that they can even somewhat use or be helpful. And that's where I'm going to leave out this part. Sorry that I'm ending it off so abruptly. In the next part, it'll be a time skip, and it'll be discussing the teams and all that. And Naruto and and what if Naruto is OP neglected is going to be uploaded later today. I'll be making it right after this part. So like, once I'm done recording, I'm going to edit this video, and I'm going to start uploading it while I record what if Naruto was OP neglected part 10. So yeah, just watch out for that later on. Again, if you guys enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.